Okay, so just trying a few numbers. And of course, there are things that help you find the numbers. P of 1 equals 11, okay? And P of 0 equals 5. So it looks like things are going down here. So let's go to -2. P of -2 is -2 squared. And if you wrote -2 squared without the parentheses and told me it was 4, you're wrong. You put parentheses around -2 and square it, then it is 4. Okay? As I've told you before, -2 squared without the parentheses means you square the 2, because you do the exponent first. And then the negative means a multiplication by -1. You do that multiplication, you get -4, right? But in parentheses, it's right. So make sure you get that, because I've seen that sort of error a couple of times here. Anyhow, it equals this, right? So that's 4 minus 10 plus 5, which equals -1, right? Okay? And as far as that goes, P of -1, some people said that P of -1 was negative, but that's probably the error that I'm talking about, okay? And it looked good because you're doing the right thing, but your execution was a little bit off, because when you square -1, you get 1, so that's 1 minus 5 plus 5, which equals 1, right? Okay? Doesn't mean there's not a 0 between -1 and 1, but you're not assured that there's 1, right? Okay? Okay, so well, on a graph, okay, here's 1, here's -2. So here's my purple interval. -2 to 1. And we know that at 1, the value of the function is 11. So we got the point 1, 11. Okay? And we got the point -2, -1. So there's got to be a 0 in the purple interval, right? Okay. So we're going to cut that purple interval. That's not, you can always cut it in half, but if you cut it in half, it's going to be a -1/2 here, and you're going to have to evaluate this function for -1/2, and you might want to avoid having to evaluate it a fraction until you really need to. It would make sense to cut it at -1. Because we already, in our trial, we found out that P of -1 is 1, right? So P of -1 is 1, so that gives us the point 1, 1. Gotta be 0 in the yellow interval, okay? And then, well, we're probably gonna have to cut it in half again, right? And this time we probably will cut it in half. 3 halves, right, negative 3 halves. And we could evaluate it and see whether it's above or below. Okay? Then we know which interval, either this half of the interval or this half, has the 0. Okay? Make sense? So it's a simple process. Be careful evaluating a function, but it's a simple process. Okay? And that's how you use the intermediate value theorem to estimate zeros. Now, for this function, I mean, the zero is going to be at negative 5 halves, which is negative 2.5, plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. Okay? Square root of 5 is about 2.23. Half of that's about 1.13. Okay? And negative 5 halves plus 1.13 is a little to the right of a halfway point here. Okay? And there'd be no point in using the intermediate value theorem to estimate the zeros of this function. But what if the function was a 5th degree polynomial? X to the 5th minus 2x to the 4th plus 3x cubed minus 18x squared plus 48x plus 30. Okay? How are you going to find zeros of that? It's 5th degree. You can't even, there might not even be any way to factor. Okay? But you can use the intermediate value theorem to squeeze those zeros down as close as you want to. Okay? Because you know what, that's what we're doing. We know the zeros in this interval, now we've squeezed it down to this interval. If we evaluate the function here, we squeeze it down to a smaller interval. Keep cutting those intervals in half, and pretty soon you got a pretty tiny interval, so you know very nearly where that 0 is, right? So you're going to have an assignment where I ask you to do. I'll give you another polynomial, probably one that we generate from the letters of your name. Okay? So discover 2 points, one point where it's above, 1 point where it's below the axis. And don't go out and use a graphing calculator to graph it so you can see. That's not doing mathematics, that's avoiding mathematics. Okay? Which is what, of course, everybody does for years and years in our educational system. Okay. Make sense? Everything except that last thing I said. I don't know if I'm making sense or not there. Okay.